209radio, soon to be Cambridge 105 radio, as I've already said only a few seconds earlier. Once a month, every Saturday, 12 o'clock till 12:57 p.m. and listenable thereafter on the 209 archive, soon to be the Cambridge 105 archive. There you go. We're online, we're on FM. And you are on camera with Nick, the producer, on Feel Good Friday. Every Friday, 3 whole hours every Friday, come rain or shine, from now until the end of time, pretty much, really. That's about right, I think.
Yeah, that sounds about right, Matt. Yeah, I've enjoyed most of it, Matt.
Because we started at the same time, didn't we? We were both in the same broadcasting code.
Yeah, we met each other on a Saturday, I think it was.
Good memory, better memory than me.
Yeah.
Each one of us now is responsible for this station.
Yeah.
In terms of making it known, in terms of trying to bring in some more revenue for it, you know?
Yeah.
I think maybe that's one of the things that we tend to fail on, is that everybody is devoted to their programme, certainly.
Yeah.
But there needs to be more than that, as Matt Webb said on the radio just now.
Yeah.
Everybody has a responsibility to contribute more than just their own show.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. We need to help this place.
Yeah, we need it. Yeah.
Okay, it's Saturday the 5th of February. We are here with Anne Mulder and we are the Flavour team. What we're going to do for you today is just a little example of how we broadcast our show. Our style is to have 3 or 4 segments through an hour-long food show. It's all pretty much speaking based, and we have a script that we follow, plus pre-records that we will play into our extensive playout system here. Everything is timed and calculated and regimented so that we can get everything we need to say and deliver it in the way that we need to say it within the hour time slot that we have every fortnight. I don't know. The whole thing from start to finish could take about 12 hours to produce a 1-hour show. That's 12 hours involving pre-recording and most importantly editing. So a pre-record, you could do half an hour's worth of pre-record if you like, but the important point is you have to cut it down to about a good 6 or 7 minutes, because even that's stretching. That's what a listener should be able to put up with without getting a little bit bored, I'd say. So it's important to have variety and different voices, to have flavour, and that's what we do, and we've been doing it for about the last 2 years, and it's good fun. We're all volunteers here, and we love what we do.
Our show started with the originator, Elena Cusack, and she, I believe that she was a rock journalist for NME or something like that. She used to live down in London, she moved to Cambridge, and she found out about Cambridge 209.
Do you have any plans for your show in the near future?
Yeah, we are desperate to increase the number of people on our team because it's very, very content heavy. It requires a lot of research, it requires a lot of editing. We need content. So basically that means we need volunteers, people like you and me, who can get out there and chat with local producers and proprietors of businesses in and around Cambridge and just get some nice information from them, you know, all about the food they make and what they produce, where they're going, what they're doing, all sorts really. Something that makes the listener interested, and always the information must be relevant and it must always be local. That's the remit of doing local community radio. We can't just do anything. Yeah, there's a lot of work involved, and we produce 1 hour's worth of audio per fortnight, and that probably requires, I would say, roughly 12 hours worth of solid graft to produce that 1 hour. That 12 hours is made up of editing, lots of audio content, and writing scripts. I think we are quite rare on 105 in the sense that we're one of the few shows that is completely scripted, and that's because we have so much content that we need to be able to fit in to 1 hour. We have to be very tight and very controlled, and that's what makes it work. The most important feeling is working together as a team. That's vital, and building up a close friendship around it. And the best thing I would say probably is the buzz of being in the studio, working at it, and then the moment you finish and you come out, you feel quite elated. You feel happy that all the hard work you put in is just culminated in that one brief spell of time.
Many people, I think, in my opinion, should get involved and help out in some way.
Yeah, definitely. And that's also another key point. You can help out as much or as little as you like.
Yeah.
You have to come in and start saying, I want to produce this show, I want to make this show. Yeah.
Yep.
You can be a newsreader, you can be a researcher,
Yeah.
you can be a designer, you can be a promoter, anything.
You can help us to make money.
You can make your own way.
Thanks for enjoying this wonderful interview, and see you all soon. Bye. One of many interviews with Matt Bentmann, speaking to me, myself, Nick Clowes, at the Alexander Pub in Cambridge in 2011. I do actually remember that, and hopefully you got the gist of what he was actually trying to say at the time, because we had a lot of background noise. But yeah, I don't know if you noticed that, but anyway, that's another thing altogether. But we heard most of what he was actually trying to say. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, of course, giving you some also memories of 209 radios. I'll speak about that in just a moment, but of course, to remind you of the kind of flavour show that Matt Bentmann was actually talking about in 2011. He was actually speaking about his flavour show, formerly known as the Flavour of the Month show, back in the 209 radio days. And he was talking there at Cambridge 105 when it first begun, and he was talking to his co-host there, as you previously saw, with Alan Alder. I think it's pronounced that way. But this is, back in the 209 radio days, Matt Webb there, alongside John Gannon, who done the 60s show, and Paul McKay, one of the technical guys, alongside another technical guy, which you'll see in just a moment. But Matt Webb, of course, was the first presenter that I co-hosted with back in the days of 209 Radio. The Feel Good Friday show, never in my sort of memories will I ever forget. You know, it was a fantastic treat to be able to be nicknamed under the name of Nick the Producer. Not only that, to learn presenting work, which of course by the thanks to Matt Webb at the time. But this is Matt Bentmann speaking, of course, towards the midnight hour in 2010. And you'll probably see me in a moment looking very tired and exhausted at that sort of time. And not only exhausted emotionally, but of course exhausted because a lot of hard work and effort was put into keeping that station alive, which unfortunately ceased airing, which later became Cambridge 105, and still to this modern day, here in 2020 I'm speaking, and of course Cambridge 105 on that particular note is still going in this year 2020. But yeah, you can see I'm very exhausted and of course excited to speak to Matt Bentmann at the time. But thank you very much for listening to this commentary. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you want to leave some feedback, feel free to do so. We are waiting for your feedback now. I would actually personally like to thank everybody who has watched this, including people I have not yet met, or even those people that I have met throughout my times. But like I say, I actually might do an exclusive bonus towards the end of this video if you want to stay on for a bit, and you'll see what I actually look like now. And basically for those people who haven't seen me for absolute ages, so of course you can then tell what I am like in terms of presenting compared to those days in 2010. Or even going further back. But we're talking about 2010 in this instance. As I say, thanks for watching, and God bless to you all. and you're seeing the face behind the voice of the brief commentary that has been talking over the top and doing a bit of narration, whatever you like to call it, on this special video that you have been watching. I'll be talking today about the remembering of 209 radio back in the day of when it was going around in 2008. I don't know if it was going before that, but of course it ceased airing in 2010. I'll be talking about that, and of course the interview with Matt Bentmann talking about his actual show of Flavour, which he later did and called it by that sort of name, as he narrowed it down from the previous name of Flavour of the Month from the 209 days. And then I will be talking you through, of course, a little bit of the interview that I conducted at the Alexander pub in the same year of 2011. But the year of the talk with Matt Bentmann, when I was talking to him about the Flavour show, was in 2011, same year as the Alexander pub. But like I say, my name's Nick Clowes, and just in case you haven't noticed, and of course, yes, I'm doing this video primarily to show people, and those people who haven't seen my face and heard my voice for complete ages. It's been a staggering amount of time, and things have just gone, you know, modern, you know, if you like to put it that way. And those people who haven't seen me in absolute ages will think, wow, he's changed a great deal since I last spoke to him quite some time ago, which notably it was. But yeah, let's start by talking you through the 209 radio basis, and it all started out basically when I saw an advert in, for example, the Flying Pig pub in Cambridge, which notably it's probably not open during this lockdown, but hopefully all pubs in Cambridge and everywhere in the world and UK should be open soon, but of course we don't know when that's going to be. But yeah, that's how it all started, and I sort of got in touch with 209 Radio, and they invited me over to the studio to Sturton Street, and I went and ventured over there, and I bumped into a presenter by the name of Matt Webb, and I can't thank him enough for this, and you know what's going to come next, don't you? You can guess it coming through your stomach there. And of course it is when he first introduced me to the name of course, the Feel Good Friday show. Not only that, you're waiting for it, aren't you? The fact that I was the co-host on that particular programme, he actually named me under the name of Nick the Producer. Yes, notably that name has increased, and it's still going to this modern day here in 2020, and notably I'll be talking a bit more about that when I progressed on to other directions. So yes, as I say, it's still going to this modern day, but Nick the Producer I was named as for the co-host, my very first co-hosting with Matt Webb at the time, and I can't thank him enough for the actual name. But great presenter, and of course I remember one particular feature on the Feel Good Friday show, which was notably, it was called by that name, and I remember one particular feature was called the Kick Out the 80s. I can't remember the other feature. I remember there was another one, but I can't actually remember it without actually listening to one of the archives, if anybody has a copy of it. But of course I have only one copy, and the Sound of Pop Art were interviewed on that particular day. I remember Chris Free and Tony, his band fellow, was in the studio at the time. I remember interviewing him, and I still occasionally speak to Chris Free as well, which is a fantastic achievement. He's now doing lockdown music in front of his live stream telly. But yeah, I have seen him down the one of the pubs in Cambridge The Alma, just remembered it. Yeah, the Alma pub at the Songsmith Sessions, which used to be notably on a Sunday after it was on a Wednesday. But yeah, we won't go too much in depth with that. But yeah, I remember that interview, and I've still got a copy of that. And notably, it's somewhere on the internet lurking around. You might be able to spot it somewhere. But yeah, I do have a copy of it, and hopefully I might get a chance to upload it at some stage. So, like I say, it was a great achievement to get my confidence in leaps and bounds, as, you know, I was kind of like a shy type of person. I didn't know how to actually express my voice, didn't know how to be confident in front of the mic, and even then I was kind of like the shyest person ever to be known at that particular time. But yeah, I just was very, very on edge and very nervous. I still feel a little bit on the nervous sort of edge. Even my words go a bit all over the place from time to time, and I sometimes say the wrong words, not meaning to do it. It's an easy thing to do where people just say a particular word. I might say, for example, Matt Bentmann, and I actually say Matt Webb by mistake. And I do remember saying that at the time of when I interviewed Matt Bentmann at the time. But yeah, the first, by the way, talking about that interview that I did when the 209radio was ceased airing, was the fact that I was interviewing Matt Bentmann, not Matt Webb, but Matt Bentmann, because there was two Matts at the time. I was interviewing him, and I was notably very exhausted at that sort of time. And it was heading towards midnight time, and of course, yeah, to be privileged to be going up to the midnight hour in Cambridge is a great achievement, because of course there's no buses heading back after midnight, not normally, coming back to Hayfield, but that's another thing altogether. So I was quite privileged to be able to go up to the midnight hour in 2010 at that time. And there is still a statement of 209 saying that it was ceased airing on Saturday, blah, blah, blah. And, of course, thanking all the listeners, tears and joys, that kind of thing. And, of course, it's still up on the internet, and nobody's ever taken it down. And, of course, it's got a link to Cambridge 105. I don't know if anybody's actually seen that. But, anyway, I just want to say a big hello to those people who haven't actually heard my voice or even seen me and met me in person for quite some time. I do hope to have a chat with one of the old members of the 209 radio days at some stage, maybe on FaceTime would be lovely, or maybe just to do an interview on one of our channels, which would be lovely and something to smile about during this lockdown in particular. But yeah, obviously my favourite time as being a co-host was the Feel Good Friday show. And as I said, very shy person at the time. But of course I've grown in confidence since then, you know, on that sort of basis. Talking about Matt Bentmann, I'll briefly talk about that. Firstly, I did an interview with him back in 2011. And I interviewed Matt Bentmann and his co-host of his Flavour show, Alan Alder. I don't know if that's pronounced right, but yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, Matt Bentmann, if you're watching. And of course, they both were in view of the shot, and Matt Bentmann mainly was talking about how his show worked. And then later I interviewed him on the same year, roughly speaking, at the Alexander pub in Cambridge, speaking about his show, and I interviewed him a little bit more further. But yes, notably I've seen one of his latest videos of his Flavour show, and by the way, his Flavour show was narrowed down because it was originally called, I seem to remember, Flavour of the Month in the 209 radio days. Correct me if I'm wrong again. Do correct me if I'm wrong, Matt Bentmann. But anyway, yeah. enough said about Matt Bentmann for a moment. I'm not being horrible, but of course I want to talk about other things as well. Notably, there's other shows like the 60s show with John Gannon. There was technical guys there on the 209 basis, and of course the technical guys I remember was Paul McKay and Actual Minute. Those were the two main technical guys. There was Louise Hawes. I remember her as one of the office guests, sort of, introducing the actual station. Probably what you call in modern terms the admin area sort of thing, and receptionist, if you like to call it. So yeah, I had to think of the word to say. But yeah, sometimes words don't come to me, so it is quite weird how that sort of goes in my mind. But yeah, these days it's a different mindset we all have to live in, and we just have to continue in that form, unfortunately, these days. But yeah, I can't remember too many other names. I do remember a few of them. One in particular, I just come to mind, Davina and Scratch. I remember that. The afternoon programme with Drive Time, I do remember that. That was going back some time, wasn't it? I wonder how they're getting on these days. And there's a few others, but of course the list just goes on. But like I say, a big thank you and a huge thank you to all those who have remembered me, and of course those people I would like to get in touch with again and perhaps be on my actual platform talking about my project that I'm hoping to progress in time, which is Luminous Platform. I've actually got the shirt to prove it, Luminous Platform team. I'm notably one of the admins of that. Luminous Platform is the main group page, but having said that, we have sister groups by the name of LP Entertainment, otherwise known as Luminous Platform Entertainment. And we also have We Love East Anglia, which we're hoping to get some shirts made up, and hopefully we'll be able to get one shirt made up, actually sent to me, so that I can actually be the first one showing it to the public. But yeah, notably we're on Twitter as well, Luminous Platform, so I won't go into too much depth. We already have 1,000 followers on there, which is just an amazing achievement. That's gone up in leaps and bounds as well, so yeah, that's an amazing achievement if I'm actually honest with you. But thank you very much for watching this, and I'm glad that I can actually talk you through my favourite times of when I started out as a co-host back in the 209 radio days, and I'm very, very pleased with talking it through that sort of process. And of course, one other thing to mention before I leave you with, because I didn't actually bring it with me, but like I say, I wonder where we've heard that one before, but I'm lost for words now. But no, seriously, before I go, I'll sort of tell you where I sort of went to in another direction. There was a choice between Cambridge 105 and Cambridge City Radio. I went on to Cambridge City Radio. I don't know why I did, but apparently I did. That's where I ended up. And then after that, I went to another radio station, notably brought on the name of Nick the Producer, and did a club mix show, which did air on Envision Radio. And of course, that was a community radio station which did air, and apparently I was the last ever show on that particular station, so that is quite weird as well. But yeah, that was the Envision times, and notably I set up my own kind of project as well by the name of Freelance Videos. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. Let's come together and maybe get some people to actually meet up with me on FaceTime, or whatever you like to call it, Zoom, or that modern technology that we have in this day and age. and talk me through it and go back in time and relive some of those great memories. Hopefully you got the gist of what I've been talking about today. Hopefully I haven't battered on too long. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and God bless to you all, and hopefully you're all staying safe during this lockdown, and of course stay safe in any issue that you are having right this minute, if you are having any issues, and of course be good to yourself.